In this video, we are going to use the ArcGIS API for Python to back up an ArcGIS Online dashboard. That means we're going to create JSON configuration files that are stored to our disk. We're going to use those configuration files to recreate that dashboard. Now, this is pretty cool because if you find a public dashboard and you're thinking, how was that created? You can use these tools to extract the configuration files from that public dashboard and recreate it in your own organization. And then you can get in and edit and see the backend, the arcade used, or how they configured certain widgets. So let's check out the workflow. Up top, we're importing the GIS class, which will provide access to our ArcGIS Online. We're also going to import two standard Python library modules, the JSON module, which is not essential as you could export a text file, but I like using the JSON files, and this JSON module will allow us to export the file in a nice readable fashion with indents. We're also going to use the OS module, and this will just help us create the output file paths. Now before I continue, I want to state that this is the exact same script used from the blog video where we backed up web maps. So the workflow here for backing up or archiving a dashboard is the exact same as for our web maps. We use the GIS class to access ArcGIS Online. So this AGOL variable now represents our organization's ArcGIS Online. We're going to get the item ID for a dashboard, and we're going to set the output folder to be a backups folder. The workflow will create a folder inside this backups folder named the same as the dashboard. We get the dashboard as an item object, so we use the content manager get method and we'll supply in the dashboard item ID. We'll then get the JSON definition behind the dashboard that stores the widget information and all that cool stuff. So we call the item object get data, and that will return that definition as a dictionary. Now in this workflow, we are going to grab a public dashboard and get the information from that. So we can't use this favorite property because that's only available within your own organization. So I'm going to turn that off. Next, we want to get things ready for exporting our files. So we'll get the title of our dashboard because that's what we're going to name our folder within our backup folder. And here we are creating that path to that newly created folder. So here we're using os path.join, setting it to our output folder and the title above here. So if that archive folder doesn't already exist, then we're going to create it using os make there's. And now we want two file paths, one for our dashboard definition and one for our dashboard item settings. So we'll create a file that begins with definition and the title of the dashboard, and we'll also create a file with settings and the title of the dashboard, and these will both be JSON files. Now we want to save those JSON files out, so we use the open function in Python. We have our file paths, and we're going to use the json.dump function, and we're going to export the dashboard definition and the item settings to two different JSON files. And if we can get a thumbnail, we will get a thumbnail. Let's head over to ArcGIS Online and find a dashboard. Right, what would be interesting dashboard to find? Let's search for sharks. I don't want to search inside my organization only. I want to search outside, and I want to find dashboards. Let's just go for the top one here from Flinders University, which is more than likely in Australia by the look of it. Let's see if we can open the details of this dashboard, and we can. There's no option here to save this to our own organization, so we can see the finer details of how this was created. Let's open the dashboard and have a look. Okay, this looks pretty cool. You can see here we have the total species list. We can see that there is a color background to the Australian humpback dolphin. I suppose I can pick another one, and we can see that that list changes. Humpback whale, okay, another different color. So I might want to check out how they have applied the colors in that list, or even the colors over here or down here for their different widgets. I want to grab the item ID here. No, there's no way for me to click anywhere and save this so I can open up and edit. But in this workflow, we are going to see how to do that. First, we want to go back to our Python script and export the configuration files. I'll paste in the item ID and I'm going to click run. You can see we're getting an error here, and it looks like there is a space at the end of the name of that dashboard that is causing this error. So I'm going to use Python to fix that. I'm going to set the title with an or strip that will remove the white space at the end, and now I'll rerun the script. That's complete. I'll head to the archive folder. See here in the backups, now have the name of that dashboard. If I click in, we have 3 files there. We have the definition, the settings, and the thumbnail. I'll open up the thumbnail. We can see it has downloaded that thumbnail for us. We can take a look inside the definition JSON. Here we can see the makeup of that dashboard with all the different widgets that are used, along with any arcade expressions that might be used. See expressions there. I won't go through this JSON file in depth. And we can also see the settings, and we can see the space at the end of the name there. It is a dashboard. We have descriptions, and we have tags, we have a summary, and we also have a thumbnail. So we'll head back over to our Python script, and we'll open up a second one that will restore or create that dashboard in our own organization. Up top, we're importing the GIS class so we can access our ArcGIS Online. We're also going to import the dashboard class. Now this is deprecated, but it's still going to work until that deprecation gets fully removed, which who knows when that's going to happen. And we'll use the JSON and OS modules from the standard Python library for reading in our JSON files and for accessing those config files. We first access ArcGIS Online. We then have a path to our archive folder. You can see it there. The name of the dashboard that was exported has now been created as a folder. And I'm just going to create a variable called new-name, and I'll call it I restored this dashboard. We get the path to our settings JSON file and the path to our definition JSON file. We open up the settings file and we load up the JSON to a variable called dashboard settings. We see if we can grab the thumbnail and create a thumbnail path so we can use that thumbnail for our item object. We then create the dashboard object itself and we save the dashboard, so it is now an empty dashboard in our ArcGIS Online. We set the title to be our new-name, which was I restored this dashboard. We use the description, the summary, and the tags from the original dashboard. Now this part here will work if the dashboard originated from your organization, but it will not work if we're getting it from an outside organization. So I'm going to comment out that section. That section there was seeing if delete protection was enabled, getting the content status, and seeing if it was a favorite item. Skip over those. We're going to update the dashboard item dictionary with some properties. So we're going to use the type keywords, the extent, the spatial reference, access information, license info, culture, access, comments enabled, and categories. And then we can use the item object update method and update those item properties. If the dashboard originally came from our organization and it was the same user, we could place it in the same folder. I'll leave that code there, although it's just going to place it in my root folder because I was not the original owner of the dashboard. Now I can see here that I forgot to update the thumbnail, so let's do that now. What do we have? A dash item is our item object dot update, and it's going to update thumbnail. Set that to be our thumbnail path. All that's left to do is to update the JSON definition behind that empty dashboard. So we open up the definition file, we load it from the JSON, and we assign that to a variable called dashboard definition. We then create an item properties variable, the dictionary, where the key is text and the value is the definition, and we use the item object update method once more and set the item properties to be that item properties dictionary above. So let's run this script. Our script is complete and we can see we did get some deprecations there. mainly for the dashboard, which was deprecated as of 2.0.1, so quite a while ago, and it's still in use. When that is removed, I'll do another video with the latest workflow. Anyway, let's head over to ArcGIS Online and check out the results. I'm going to go back to my content. I'm in my root folder and we can see I've restored this dashboard. This is public because the original dashboard was public. I'll open up the dashboard. Well, the settings page. You can see I took the description, the terms of use. On the right hand side, it's been gave the categories. It has the credits. And we can open this dashboard and edit it. So I'll just show that this dashboard opens just fine. It has the same functionality as the original. But I can go back and I can go into edit dashboard. And I can see how this was configured. So now I can go to configuration for that species list. We can see the filter that they used. I go to list. I can see how they set the background color for each entry in that list. So here is the arcade used. So that's a pretty cool way to find a dashboard in the wild that you love but you don't know how it's configured, and add that dashboard to your own organization so you can get into the back end and see how it works. So that's a pretty cool workflow for grabbing a dashboard from someone else's organization and adding it to yours so you can get into the back end and see what makes that dashboard tick. The code used throughout this video is over on our blog. There's a link below. There's also a link to courses for the ArcGIS API for Python. If you found this useful, please leave a comment and let us know how you get on with extracting dashboards and adding them to your organization, or backing them up and restoring.